The final commit message says deploy complete. The test runner disagrees. 165 passed, 1 failed. Both are true. A machine wrote essentially every line of this service. Then its last commit, the victory lap, widened a rule and broke one of its own frozen tests. Not the near miss from the post-mortem. That one got reverted. This one is still red at the very last commit. The suite caught it. Looks right is not green. You have stopped trusting the green checkmark. Green tells you the tests that exist pass. It says nothing about the safeguard nobody wrote or the check that was quietly deleted. And it cannot show you what the final commit did after the suite last ran green. You only see that by opening what shipped and running it yourself. You have shipped green and lain awake anyway. Now review code a machine wrote warts and all when the reviewer has no live shell. It cannot curl the endpoint. It cannot watch the service run. It can only read the files and run the offline suite. So it makes 3 rules: cite the runner's number, never a grep, check the frozen boundaries by machine, and report every det in the det's own words. Here is the receipt. At the frozen commit, working tree clean, I ran the actual test runner offline, 554 tests collected, 553 passed, 1 failed, no network, no browser, every seam is a swappable fake. 4 build runs produce this, each tagged with its cost in the Git log. That ledger is another video story. This one opens the files and reads what a machine actually shipped. What did it build? 1 shared core, 3 services on top. The audit endpoint scores a website, search engine, security, performance, and mobile checks. The detect endpoint fingerprints a site's tech stack. The parse endpoint turns an image or a document into strict JSON, the 1 paid service, and a shared health check, 1 shape for all 3. 10 core modules, 3 thin services, no forking. Now the numbers from the runner, not a grep. Audit 182 passed, detect 92 passed, parse 114 passed, and the core 165 passed, 1 failed of 166. Nothing needed a live network, a browser, or a real API. I confirmed the offline seams before I trusted a single count, and the suites pin their own catalog. The audit test asserts exactly 26 checks in quick mode, 32 in full. A check cannot silently vanish. So how does a reviewer with no shell run all of it? Every input-output boundary in the product is an injected dependency. The audit fixtures hand back a built render result, never a real browser. Detect's fixtures return a canned fetch. Parse's fake model client never opens a socket. Swap the fakes in, and every suite runs sealed and offline. That testability is itself the code quality signal. The core is frozen, checked, not promised. A diff of the core and its tests comes back empty. No core file changed since July 4th, while all 3 services were built July 5th and 6th. The product's own instructions call any diff under core a critical finding. A gate script fails the build on 1, the machine froze its foundation, and a gate holds the line. Now what genuinely holds up, start with what never leaks. Every exception funnels into 1 error envelope. A code, a message, a request identifier, nothing else. Neither handler copies the exception into the body. No traceback, no file path, no secret. And the secrets are secret strings. Proxy secret and model key read through 1 method, absent from Git history. This is the discipline a machine enforces everywhere without getting bored. Where does a machine cut corners under deadline? Not on traceability. 128 distinct requirement tags appear inline in the source. Feature, security, acceptance, and decision anchors cited in the doc strings that satisfy them. And not decoratively. 1 acceptance criterion shows up 23 times. You can read a function and see the spec line it satisfies. That is a machine doing, under deadline, what humans usually skip. So a machine can be disciplined exactly where discipline is mechanical. Now the det. A reviewer who only read the code and never held a live socket has to report it straight. These are not my opinions. They are the pipeline's own audit findings with the severities it assigned itself. Take them at their harshest. First det, the defaults fail open, authentication ships off and admits every request. The token cap ships empty, so the paid path is uncapped. Deploy from the example environment alone, and you expose a paid endpoint unauthenticated to denial of wallet. Rated medium, not high. The shipped config sets a cap, and it sits behind a proxy secret, so audit what your defaults do when nobody sets them, not just when someone does. Second det. Resource limits are bounded by systemd, not by the app. Input size is checked only after the full body is in memory, no length pre-check. A few kilobyte file can declare a 30,000 by 30,000 pixel page. The parser allocates the full bitmap before it ever downscales. The only guard is a 512 megabyte cap and restart always. A kernel kill, not an app guard. Third det, and the sharpest. Synchronous work runs on the asynchronous event loop. The parse handler is declared asynchronous, so the framework runs it directly on the loop, but the model call blocks for up to 60 seconds, and rasterizing a document is processor bound. Under a single worker, one slow request freezes the loop, including the health check, for up to a minute. Effective concurrency is one, an asynchronous server built to handle many requests pinned to one at a time. Fourth det, some of it was never built. Parse's second iteration, repair retry, escalation, arithmetic warnings, acceptance criteria 12 through 14, is absent. It makes one model call, warnings hard-coded to empty, and here is the tell. When the model returns schema invalid output, the service raises a 500 internal error. The spec demands a 502 upstream error, a wrong code on a routine failure. Now the one red test, the reason for the whole video, not the near miss from the postmortem, the one that got reverted. This break is still red at the final commit. That commit's message reads, deploy complete, all three APIs live. What it actually did was widen the service's egress allow list from loopback only to every address on the internet. That broke a frozen core test the machine was forbidden to touch. Here's the honest part. The private range and cloud metadata deny rules are still in that unit. The more specific rule wins, so the kernel backstop still bites. This is a contract regression, not a proven open door. But the test is red and the test is right. The severity is not the point. A green suite ships this drift silent. The frozen line is the only thing that flagged it. And that is the thesis in one red line. The commit says deploy complete. The suite says 165 of 166 looks right is not green. So why is that red test the most candid line here? Because it is the machine reviewing its own last commit, refusing to call it done. A shellless reviewer verifies only what it read and ran and claims nothing more. So it opened what actually shipped, reran the suite, and let the count speak. A green check mark cannot do that. Green is not done. So here is your one action. Open the last green build a machine handed you, skip the commit message, run the suite yourself, then diff the last commit against the test it was forbidden to break. The verdict a senior engineer would sign. Warts and all, it holds up, indebted exactly where it could not see. But this machine built more than an API. It also built a trading bot that was supposed to make money and didn't. Next series, I open its profit and loss and the signal that came back dead. Subscribe and I'll show you that number too.